Okay, I'm recording. You guys do want to make sure that your grayscale is correct so that you can use this as a reference to figure out what value of swatch you have created. You'll be translating your chromatic grays and your muted colors into value numbers, okay, for this exercise. So if you don't have a correct grayscale, it's going to be confusing. Meaning if your number 4 and 5 look very similar, there's no real difference between 4 and 5, so what's the point, okay? You had 3 square shaped areas that are around 5 by 5, because you'll be using this as a background for your collages. You'll be using 2 squares that are 5 by 5 of the 3 that you made of different values. So I made a light one, I made a dark one, and I made a medium value chromatic gray square. And then I made a whole bunch of different shaped chromatic grays, okay? So these grays that you see right here, these chromatic grays, like this one's achromatic dark with white and a little bit of ultramarine. I wrote myself little notes. So it's bluish. This one has a little bit of rose in it. These are all the same value of gray, but I added different colors into it. This was a value of number 4 value gray with primary yellow added into it just a little bit, and it turns green. And this was with violet. So they all have a hint, a very, very subtle hint of color, but they're very, 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 very dull. The chromatic grays are closest to the center of what happens when you mix. This is talking about complementary colors. When you mix them, you get that complete neutral in the center. And then it starts getting less neutral and gets more orange going this way, and it gets more blue going this way. The chromatic grays have to be closer to that gray color, because the muted color is a lot more of that color. If we're talking about the reverse now, it's like there's the pure color. When you're talking about saturation, you're talking about purity. There's the color with nothing else tainting it, okay? But then a little dirt gets in the water, a little mud gets in the water, and it gets a little more murky, okay? But not murky enough where you can't identify that as orange. And then as the water gets way murkier and this color is way less pure, it's a chromatic gray. It's a gray that the color has been added to, so it's an achromatic gray that orange is added to, and it is slightly going towards the orange side, okay? So all of your chromatic grays swatches should look like camouflage almost. It's confusing because when you mix the achromatic dark in with a little bit of color and you get a super dark chromatic gray, you feel like that's the only thing you're getting from your chromatic gray mixing. But you can mix a color with any value of gray, and we're gonna practice that a little bit right now. Again, chromatic grays are a gray from the value scale. You make the gray, and then you add the color in. So let's just do a little bit right now. Like, I actually know that I need to make another large square for another. So you're basically making 2 collages tonight and then for homework, okay? You need a background. This is one of my backgrounds. I actually need another 5 by 5. This one's too small. So I'm gonna make a chromatic gray right now for that purpose. And then I'll make a whole bunch of others just because we're gonna practice together. And even if you feel like you have enough, you can always have more. And the other thing is that you might have created muted colors instead of chromatic grays. So we'll talk about that as we go. All right, I'll need some paper. I'm going to start by making, these are my chromatic darks. I'm going to combine them and make an achromatic dark. You can create chromatic grays with mixing complementary colors together. You don't necessarily have to always be using an achromatic dark. But as we can see, as we experimented last time, I was mixing orange, I was mixing black into orange, and it went really fast. It went from orange to black super quick. But then I mixed orange, I mixed an achromatic gray, or sorry, an achromatic dark into the orange, and it went from orange to the dark very slowly. And the achromatic dark and the black, even though the black is like more of a velvety dark, it is darker. It's still, that's pretty good. That's pretty dark over here. So the transition was slower. You will get more versions of achromatic, you'll get more versions of chromatic darks using the achromatic dark mixing in than you will with black. Okay, so that's just kind of showing you that reasoning. And you also can make a light gray, so you're also using white. Okay, there's lots of ways to make chromatic grays. Let's work on a few tonight just in case you need some more, because you will be collaging a whole bunch, so it's not a bad thing to have more. So I'm just gonna work with half of a page right now. I'm definitely gonna make a square that is 5 by 5. So I'm first gonna make my achromatic dark. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a value. What value do I want to make? Based on the achromatic grays that I have going on, I could, I don't know, try out with a middle value. So I'm going to try to make a number 3, go to the top middle. I'll make a number 3 and a number 6. For the second part, we're going to start with the first part of this exercise. For the second part, you're going to need to be using chromatic grays that are in the same value range. So I'm just going to make some chromatic grays that are in the same value range. What that means is I will be using my now freshly made number 3. We'll see how I'm matching it up. I'm like, all right. Actually, it's more like number 4. My newly made number 4, and I'm going to mix in a few different hues into that number 4. So I'm going to take that value and move it over like so. I'll take my small brush. I think I want to use, I don't know, maybe I'll go with a blue. I'm going to go with cobalt blue. You can use any color. And put the color over here in its own well so I don't mix in too much of it, because again, I'm only taking a baby tiny itsy bitsy sesame seed of an amount, little tiny, okay, and I'm going to put it into the gray, into the value of gray that I've made, the number 4. And if it doesn't really change, fine, I'll go back and I'll pick up some more, little bits at a time. It's harder to go backwards. It's harder to go in reverse, okay? I feel like that's changed. And now I have since I have already separated, that's my number 4 without any color right here in this well. And that's my reference. So I know that this has changed because I can see it's slightly, ever so slightly bluish. Okay, that's what I'm going to use right now, right here, the chromatic gray that I just mixed. So I'm going to wash my smaller brush because I don't need that right now. I still got some good stuff on my big brush. That's still the chromatic gray that I just made. Add a little bit of water. So again, right now, I'm making my number 4 value gray, which is now chromatic gray because I added cobalt blue to the point where it changed ever so slightly. And I am filling in a 5 by 5 square for a background that I'm going to need soon. I do want to make another. I just made that value, that number 4, and I want to make 3 different chromatic grays from it. So I'm going to divide this little area, this little spot of paint up. I'll put it over here in a new well because I actually want to make more of the same value. So I'll make 3. This is number 4 value, and now I'm making 2 more. Take my green, tap a little bit off of it, feel like it's too much. Mix it in, add a little bit of water. Okay, so that's slightly different in hue than the blue chromatic gray of the same value. Now it's like a greenish. So I'm using up all that chromatic gray that was leaning towards green. And I'm just gonna take my pencil just so I don't get confused later, and I'm gonna write down number 4 with deep green and number 4 with cobalt. Okay. This is gonna be a lot less of an area, but it's okay if when you're painting these swatches, it's a good thing that they're different sizes. You need 3 squares that are 5 by 5. That's the only rule. So I'm just going to make whatever I have left. The shape of it is going to be like a square, smaller square. I think what I'm just going to do for comparison, this is the number 2 value with primary yellow, and I still have some primary yellow over here. I'm going to make a number 5 value, and then I'll mix in the primary yellow, and I'll put them side by side to see what they look like. So what I'm going to do, if you got scissors, grab your scissors. These 2 chromatic grays that I made, this one I made with carmine red and deep green. And I used more red, and I got to like a mauve. And this one I used violet and light yellow with a little more yellow than violet. So these are examples of mixing complementary colors together to get a chromatic gray. We're just going to move on to labeling them the grayscale value equivalent. So you're going to be taking your chromatic gray that you made, and you're going to figure out if this was in black and white, this reddish number 4, well, actually I already labeled this one, this reddish gray, what gray value would it be? So you put your chromatic gray that you made up to your grayscale like this. And you're probably going to have to block out what it's not so that I can see the chromatic gray next to the number 5 gray. And I feel like that's too dark. Then I'll move over and I'll cover up everything but the number 4 and my color, chromatic gray, and I know that's equivalent. Because if I go over one more and I go to number 3, now my chromatic gray is darker, definitely darker than the value of gray that I'm comparing it to, the number 3. Then I'm going to figure out how many I have of each number just to see if I need to make more. I'm going to take account of the number 2s I have, number 3s, etc. here's what we're gonna do. And if you have to re-watch this part of the recording while you're doing this for homework, then please do so, okay? Because we're not gonna complete this in 45 minutes, okay? But I'm gonna show you the steps, okay? So with my chromatic gray swatches, I'm going to be creating a couple of collages, okay? I'm gonna create, well, first I'm not gonna get ahead of myself. I wanna make a 5x5 collage with at least five shapes that don't include the background square. And I will send you a document that has this information in it as well, okay? So right now, I'm just going to figure out what I want to do for that collage. And meaning like what shapes are there going to be, where are they going to be placed in the composition, that sort of thing, okay? Artists and designers, they will make what's called a thumbnail sketch, several different thumbnails to try to figure out what they're going to be doing. So that's what I'm going to do right now. And you guys, actually, you can just start this at least. If you've got some scrap paper lying around, it's perfect for that. I'm just going to do this in Sharpie so that you guys can see it. So I want to make 3 different ideas for my shapes and my collage for my composition. Okay, so I drew 3 boxes, and now I need at least 5 things going on, 5 shapes. Keep it simple. The shapes don't have to be like a crazy star or like a dragon tail. Like, think simple. Think simple, abstract shapes. Nothing crazy. Okay? Do this in pencil. Gonna have like a spear shape, maybe a triangle here. Maybe I have like a little tentacle shape right there. Maybe a rhombus over here. Your shapes can overlap, but don't make it too crazy for the overlapping. Put a little semicircle in the corner. I don't know, maybe a dot over here. And then maybe in the background I have like a little swirly kind of wave or something. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. All right. Maybe I'll make only 6 for the next one. Let's see. Go with that little tentacle swirly shape. Make it come out of there with that side. Still have a little stalactite kind of spear icicle shape. There we go. Maybe I'll have a half circle on that side. Maybe I'll put my dot down here. It's a little bit bigger. Maybe I don't put a little semicircle over here. So I got 1, 2, 3, 4. Just need 1 more. Maybe I'll put a shape down here at the bottom. Like that. Okay, I'll move on to my 3rd thumbnail. Okay, I'm going to take a look at them and figure out which one I like the best. Just like a cooking show, there it is right there for you. So I'm speeding ahead a little bit here. Here's my thumbnail light. And now I'm going to use this as a template for my swatches. For the 2 collages, for all of the collages that we'll be doing, you're going to be doing 6 of them. your design will stay the same. So keep your design simple. You can have some overlapping, but don't get too crazy with it. It's not really about the shapes and the design, it's about the colors you'll be playing with. So from this design that I have, I'm going to be cutting out this shape, this shape, this shape over here, like a pair of pants, this dot, this little swirly thing, and then this, I will have this too, this little like wave, my finger's covering it, this little wave in the background a little bit, that will be its own piece of paper. So I just have to keep that in mind when I cut this out and this out, that this is an entire shape, it just is missing. I can cut it from a different piece of paper. I'll probably do that right now, just so it's not confusing. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut out my template pieces. Before you cut it out, you should definitely take a picture of it. As you're cutting out these shapes from your chromatic gray swatches, don't get rid of anything unless it's like little slivers of paper like this. Hold on to everything because you are going to end up using them kind of like little game pieces in our little game called Color Theory. I have a big box of just swatches I've made that I don't need right now. When I numbered everything, all of my swatches, I wrote down how many I had of each number. I only have 2 of number 2 value. I only have 3 of number 3. I have 8 of number 4. So I have a lot of number 4s, which is good. You want to have a lot of 1 or 2 values. For the first part, you're working with a variety of values and a variety of colors. Okay? You're using a variety of colors for the second part, but you're staying in the same value range. I need to work with a variety of values. So I'm working with number 3s and number 8s, and you know, I can always make more if I'm running out and I need a variety of values and I don't have a variety of values. So I'll use number 2, I'll use the number 5, I'll use the number 8, I'll use the number 6. I have to have a chromatic gray that I made with yellow, a chromatic gray that I made with red, a chromatic gray that I made with purple. You get what I'm saying? A chromatic gray that I made with green. As long as you have 3 different colors, hues in your chromatic grays, that's a variety. The first part of the assignment is to create a collage with your chromatic gray swatches that has a variety of values. The chromatic grays have a variety of values and a variety of colors. So that for the second part of the assignment, you're going to be using the same value of chromatic grays. Just make sure your background is the same. So if you have like 8 number 4s, but you don't have a 5x5, then make one. That's my background. I need to mix it up. So I got a number 3. I can't stick with just number 3s from now on. I got to mix it up. So this one is a number 8. And I'm gonna do my little, trace my little wave on top of that. I'm gonna hold on to this paper template of the wave because I need to use that for the next part with all the same value, okay? So I just used the number 8 and number 3. Let's go to the number 5s. What does my pile for number 5s look like? How many you got? But some of them are really small, so can't really pick from the small ones because all the shapes that I made are kind of big. That too, you're gonna end up being like, oh man, oh, the collage I just did, the shapes, I need like larger swatches. Then just make larger swatches. It's okay. Again, what you've made, what you have here is not your own, they're not your only game pieces. You can make more. So I have a green and a blue. I need to use like a brown. I need something with a reddish chromatic gray. Okay. All right. So I got a number 8, a number 5, and a number 3. I can repeat the value numbers. That's not a big deal. I just need to have a variety of them. This is a number 5, but it's also a greenish chromatic gray. So I already have a greenish chromatic gray, so I'm not going to use that one. Over here I have a number 2 that's made with a yellow, so that will work. So I got a number 3, a number 2, a number 3, a number 5, and a number 8. I have this violet dark gray, chromatic gray with violet. And since I already have yellow, green, blue, and red, that's a nice variety of color for my chromatic gray. There's my purple. What can I do with that shape? Is that gonna fit? Ooh, it fits! Okay, we got 2 shapes left. I can repeat a color, that doesn't matter. I've got this brownish that I made by mixing orange and blue together to make a chromatic gray. Here's my arrangement. This arrangement is going to be the same arrangement for your next collage with just one value range and a variety of colors. So now, preparing for that, I have all number 4s. You see how it looks super washed out, like you can't really tell what's what? That's because it's the same value. You can kind of see here and there that like this is a greenish one, that's a bluish one, that's a purpley one, there's a pinky one. I don't have to have every color, I just have to have at least 3 different chromatic grays made from 3 different colors, okay? So this is what I use for the second collage. So once you have arranged your shapes, they're going to stay where they are here is where they're going to be in the next collage using these. So I'm going to take all my templates, here they are, and I'm going to, there's my background because I have a 5x5 that's a number 4 value. So now I have these to play with when I'm cutting out my shapes. You gotta make sure they fit. If I can't fit all of these shapes onto what I have here, then I need to make some more number 4 swatches.